the Beyond Vaudeville program with your host, Frank Hope, and your co-host, David Green, astrologer Frederick Davies, Stryker, Beyond Vaudeville, Paragon Public Access, New York City, 212-304-3264.
Okay, thank you, David, for reading the credits for me. Again, this is the Beyond Vaudeville program. Welcome again to our show. We have, as you saw in the credits, some very important special guests today. We have Frederick Davies, the renowned astrologer to the stars, who has a new book coming out. And we also have Stryker, who's a regular member of the Beyond Vaudeville family, and he's going to have a special song tribute to his father, and also maybe another one if we have time. We also have, also Kevin and Bob couldn't be here today, and we're sorry, but we're going to have a friend of Bob's and a friend of Kevin's, Glenn and Hub, and we'll see them later too. All right, David, as always, we like to keep the audience up on new things that are coming out, and I want to show you. That was the E.T. and me bag. Excuse me. Let my mic go. This was the E.T. and this. Okay, this was the E.T. and me bag. This is a new thing that we. I bought this. Also, the. Beam Me Up Scotty, which is like the children on board things, but it's for the Star Trek. David, you watch Star Trek. You know this, Beam Me Up Scotty. That's what they say when they want to go up on the ship, the Enterprise. Right, David? See, that sticks on the window, on the windshield, that suction cup. You like that? David doesn't always like everything that I have. Let's find something David likes. This is a Dukes of Hazzard book cover with Boss Hogg, and also the Dukes of Hazzard Boss Hogg doll, the official one. Okay, David, maybe you want to do some interaction thing. This is the Red Flintstone magnet beard thing, and you make the mustaches and beards on Fred's face. All right, David, you do that. Come on. All right, David. That really wasn't necessary, David. That wasn't necessary. Okay, if you want to fight. Oh. Okay. What's the matter, Dave?
This is the last time I'm doing this show. This is the...
All right. Maybe we should go on to our guest. I don't think David wants to play with anything. Oh, wait, one more thing. All right. Next, we're going to have our next guest, our first guest, Frederick Davies, astrologer to the stars. I first found out about this man when I found his Star Power record, and he's also he's been on several television programs, and we're very proud to have him on. Please welcome Mr. Frederick Davies. Davies?
Mr. Frank Hope, good to see you.
It's a pleasure to have you on here. As I say, I've been following your work for a long time, and I have my own copy, too, of your book.
We're twins, right? Double mint, right?
This is Signs of the Stars, and maybe we could talk about some of the people in here. You talk about celebrities, and you tie it in with astrology.
Yes, what I've tried to do is show that everybody, all the viewers and the readers, have an opportunity to be successful, too. And what I've tried to do is indicate that what it was in a person's horoscope made them a good singer or a good comedian, a politician, a businessman, a fighter, a boxer. And it's really a how-to book. By following what advice was given to some of these stars, the individual can become successful too, or rich and famous if they want to be.
Okay, so maybe if somebody bought this book and really read it carefully, they could be like one of the stars in this book.
Well, nearly all the stars started off like everybody else. They all started out with a dream and a philosophy and an attitude about what they wanted to do. And the one thing I've learned from doing the book and interviewing these stars over the years was that they all said you've got to believe in yourself and you've got to do it yourself. You can't rely on anyone. You can't rely on your agent, your parents, your husband or wife, because they all have other thoughts about what they want you to do. You've got to really stick at it yourself. And those that stick at it become the great successes in life.
Okay, well, let's, you mentioned several people in here. Well, let's pick one and we'll talk about the star. Oh, Michael Jackson. I have a Michael Jackson notebook that I keep my notes in.
I have a Michael Jackson T-shirt, right? I should have worn it today.
So we really are twins.
Well, see, he's a Virgo.
Right.
And he's born. The other thing I've done is divide each sign up into 3 decanates. Each sign lasts about 30 days.
Okay.
And so I've broken them down into 10 days because I don't believe that the Virgos at the first 10 days of the sign are the same as Virgos at the last 10 days of the sign.
Okay.
But because he has planets also in Taurus, it's given him this good voice and this good quality in that. And also, he's a teacher, and he's been very much involved with his religious philosophy until the past. And it's interesting how astrology, I don't think astrology helped Michael particularly in this case, but certainly people like his mentor, Diana Ross, it certainly helped. Mm-hmm. And John Travolta is an interesting person because I did the chart for his producer for Saturday Night Fever 2 years before they went into production. And the producer was going to leave working for Robert Stigwood. And I said to him, look, why don't you stay for 2 more years, because it shows in your horoscope chart that if you stay with Robert Stigwood that you're going to come up with a big hit. And the producer, Kevin McCormick, stayed and produced Saturday Night Fever. Now, if he had left, there would have been no Saturday Night Fever film, no Bee Gees record, no John Travolta's first big movie, and then therefore his second movie. So I think that what astrologers do is give people courage to go ahead with their plans, because obviously when somebody comes to an astrologer like this producer did, he wasn't sure what he wanted to do with himself. And I was able to say, look, just hang on for another 2 years, which he did. And then he did quit after that.
So if it weren't for astrology, there wouldn't be any disco. There never would have been disco.
Well, there would have been disco, but I think that there's certain things might not have happened. I don't think that because of John Travolta we wouldn't have had disco. But I think that it is interesting decisions that are made by even boxers like Muhammad Ali. When I did his fight, when he went to Zaire, I did the chart and sewed the horoscope chart into the lining of his robe. Mm-hmm. And when he was going to the fight, he drove back 15 miles to get his robe because it had the chart in it saying he would win. And then in the dressing room, Bondini Brown wanted him to wear another cloak or a robe with the map of Zaire over the heart. And he hit Bondini Brown and said, I've got to wear my magic robe, because inside he had this horoscope chart. Not that he's a great believer in astrology, but everyone at that time was looking for lucky charms and fetishes, and everybody has some lucky thing that.
Well, Muhammad Ali is a very spiritual man.
It's very religious.
And which brings me to, you mentioned outside when we were talking that you believe you've been reincarnated from a different person.
Yes, I believe that we come back on Earth many times. I mean, this is a theory that I believe in, and I know a lot of other people do, and there's some people that don't. But it's an interesting theory, because I believe that maybe I lived in Rome for a while, and later I lived in another city, and then I came back another time and lived somewhere else. But when I actually was living in Rome, I went to a seance, and they used the Ouija board. And this was a whole Roman group. It was Italian group. It wasn't Americans. And I asked them, who was I in a past life? And it spelled out Richard Walker. And I said, where did I live? and it said Youngsville, North Carolina, which to me was amusing, but I remembered that. And 6 years later, I ended up in Raleigh, and I went to the archives and found out there was a Richard Walker, and that he did live in Youngsville. And he had died in Guilford County, and I was born in England, in Croydon, near Guilford, in England. And years later, I was telling a business partner from North Carolina this story, and he said, that's interesting, because my great-great-grandfather was George Walker, and he had a brother, Richard Walker. So somehow we might have been related in a past life, and then in this life, we've got back together again.
Huh. Now, and so this was... So there is some proof of reincarnation then?
Well, everybody has to find their own individual beliefs, because it's the same with religion and politics. You really have to believe in it before, and it's very hard to convince somebody else unless you've had that personal experience. That's why, in the book, The Signs of the Stars, these are all personal anecdotes of what actually happened with people, and it helps the reader to believe in astrology more. It isn't trying to convince people, because it's not done as a technical study, but it is done to show that people do have faith in it and use it to make decisions.
So, so in the reincarnation, you were able to use a Ouija board like the kind you would get in a Woolworths or something like a regular old
Wherever
Ouija?
you pick them up, yes. Some people do it by going into a trance or hypnotic state. There are a lot of ways of looking back into past lives. I'm not an expert on past lives, but I am interested in it, naturally. And when I lived in Rome, I used to say that my car knew the directions, because obviously I would find places very easy. And I said, well, I didn't know which direction to go. And I believe that's because I lived in Rome perhaps 600 years ago or something like that.
Maybe. That's an interesting idea. It's so rare that we get such an articulate person on this show. So often David wants to bring the guests on, and he doesn't know too much about getting the right kind of people. David, I shouldn't even talk to you because my head still hurts from when you threw that puppet. But do you want to say anything? Do you want to say anything about any thoughts on reincarnation? Astrology? Okay, well, that's...
I once had a roommate like David, and I learned a lot from him, because I realized that not everyone in life has to be happy and cheerful all the time, that some people are happier being serious.
That's true.
And the mistake I made was trying to make this person happy all the time, and they couldn't cope with it. So I realized after a while they needed like 2 days happy, 2 days sad, 2 days happy. And some
But
people
David
need
wants
to be...
every day sad.
Well, he needs to
never
be
wants
serious, where other people need to be humorous, you see.
Okay, well, maybe I shouldn't try to get him to play with the things here and just let him be.
No, he likes the reaction, you see. I think it's good for people to be serious. And it's interesting with all the comedians that I dealt with, that they were all very activistic and political. And the story I tell about Richard Pryor is that even though he's now a superstar and big star, he says life hasn't changed for him. He says if he's on the street in New York and tries to hail a taxi, he still can't get a taxi because people feel he's going to be taken up to Harlem and they don't want to drive him up there. And he says that life hasn't changed. And I end up with a story saying that Richard said at one point he had a choice of being white, but he refused. And I think that these are very serious remarks made in a humorous, satirical way, and I think that's very important to realize that comedians are serious sometimes.
Well, I wish you a lot of luck with this book, Frederick, and we want you to stick around while we have Stryker on, and he's going to come on and do a number for us. Stryker, you want to go set yourself up over in there?
I'd like to sing a song. Love is Not Only for the Young, which I wrote. I was inspired to write this song when my dad, Dave Stryker, often told me how his lovely lady loved affection, and she said to him, Davy boy, love's not only for the young. Davy boy, love's not only for the young. Have no fear when she's near. You'll find your spring hasn't yet been sprung. A caring touch will Good love improves with age, just like wine. His gentle smile will always charm you, and his loving eyes still warm and alarm you. So vintage lovers, have your fling, and always keep remembering when you're near your special someone that loves not only for the young. You know, if Jolie can get down on his knees for his mammy, I think I can do the same for my daddy. So, Davy boy, have your fling, and daddy, please, please, keep remembering when you're near your special someone that loves not only for the young.
Okay, Stryker, if you want to have a seat, right over here. There's a microphone for you. Welcome back to the Beyond Vaudeville show.
Well, it's great being back here. Always enjoy being back to the Beyond Vaudeville.
Well, we always like to have you. Stryker's been playing all the talent shows for years all over Long Island, and he's written several original songs. And the one you just heard was for your father. And maybe you want to point out who your dad was there.
Well, this is my dad playing the trombone. This is a picture from the 20s. And guess who? This is Jimmy Durante. He had his own band. This is it's a nice picture, isn't it?
He's the one who said, "Ah, cha-cha."
Inka-dinka-doo.
Inka-dinka-do.
He said a lot of things. He had the nose to say it, right?
That's right. And you also did a song for Joe Franklin.
Yeah, I wrote it. I just played it for him before I come over here. On Joe Franklin's Memory Lane.
Well,
This is a song that pays tribute to the all-time stars of the past decades. He has a 5-hour radio show.
well, we all admire Joe Franklin, of course, on this program, and we'd love to have somebody who's actually been with Joe Franklin and talked with him, and it's nice to have you here.
Well, the 5-hour radio show, you can listen, and you'll be like talking to him. It's on Saturday night, every Saturday night. That inspired the song On Joe Franklin's Memory Lane.
Okay. Now you wrote a story about Joe Franklin, and it's all here, the king of nostalgia. And
Yeah, that was in NYU's Plague magazine.
Okay. Now it says here that the Pope. There's a picture of the Pope, and it says he's Franklin-like. What is that? What does that mean?
Often when you leave Joe Franklin, he's a short man, but he has a very deep voice, and he'll say, "God bless you." And you couldn't feel more blessed if you got that blessing from the Pope himself. That's the picture of the Pope right here.
Okay.
And you got Joan Blondell.
Joan Blondell.
Yeah, which I went into Joe's office the first time I was there, a number of years, maybe 5 or 6 years back. I sung a song there. I didn't have any accompaniment. Incidentally, I didn't have the accompaniment here tonight because my accompanist, he had to go out of town on very unexpectedly.
Oh, well,
so
this
in
has
true
happened.
tradition, the show had to go on.
Okay.
And I wrote Joan Blondell, I got the inspiration to write a song, Always Be Lovers,
Right.
when I read in the newspaper article that she sent 2 glasses of champagne to a nearby young couple with her wish for them, always be lovers.
Okay.
And that tells about here how Joe Franklin listened to it in his office, the same today, without any music, and it made me feel good because at the end, he listened very quietly. You don't usually get the opportunity to sing a whole song through because his phone keeps ringing every 20 seconds.
Well,
But this was one of those quiet times it didn't ring. And it made me feel good because after he gave me his full attention, and after I sang it, he said, "That's beautiful."
Did you need an appointment to get up to to his office, or?
No, it was like my mother's house. Everyone was welcome.
Huh.
But sometimes it's not that easy to get to talk to him because he's a very busy man.
Maybe I'll have to go over there sometime, maybe, and I'll
Well, you ought to try
see
it.
him. Okay. Well.
Then you got Liza on the other side.
Oh, and Liza. Okay. Well, let's. We're running on time here, so let's move, and we'll get back to everyone. But let's go now to Hub and Glenn. Hi, Hub and Glenn. How you all doing? Is the mic okay? Is the mic all right?
Yeah, Mike's all right.
Oh.
Bub couldn't be here, so Bub's cousin's here, and Bub's cousin's name is Flub. And like Bub, Flub is also a movie critic. Say hi, Flub. Hi! And what do you want to talk about today, Flub? Kubrick! Kubrick, Stanley Kubrick, the director? Yeah! He has a new movie out, right? Full Metal Jacket. Yeah. And did you like that movie? I liked it. Why did you like it? It was good. Oh. Anything else about it? It was scary. The drill sergeant yelled a lot. Okay. Did you like it as much as The Shining? No. And why is that? Shining was better. Oh, okay. You do an impersonation of The Shining, right? Yeah. Well, would you like to do that now? No. Oh, come on. Wendy, I'm not gonna hurt you. Give me the bat, Wendy. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your bleeping brain in. That was good, Flub. I guess we can say goodbye now. Goodbye!
Okay, thank you, Flub. I'm sorry I called you Hub all those times. And thank you, Glenn. Where's Kevin? Why couldn't Kevin be here? Maybe you should tell everyone.
I think, some girl.
Oh, okay. All right, well, now we still have time. I want to mention this, and I don't want to bring the show down on a bad note, but I just bought these, and I don't think it was right for David to break them. And it's not, no, you have you need to listen to this because you're always acting up, and I don't think it's funny when you throw the things, not only hit me, but you insult my guests when I'm trying to have a show on here, and you're insulting everyone by acting up, and I had to get that off my chest, and I don't want to dwell on it. Now, let's talk. Stryker, do you believe in astrology?
I really haven't studied up enough on it to say whether I do or don't.
Okay, and reincarnation, anything? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, possibly, I believe in it. You can turn into a worm if you're buried in the ground.
Oh. Okay. Well, let's go on the other foot to Frederick Davies, who has the theatrical end to him, as Stryker sings, but Frederick Davies acts, and I didn't discuss that before. You want to tell our audience?
Well, I was delighted when you said come on to the show, and it's called Beyond Vaudeville, because I started off in Vaudeville. I actually used to tour the theatres in England with a singing group and comedy group, and then in America I travelled with Beyond the Fringe and Cambridge Circus and a lot of those Monty Python type British shows. And so when you said come on your show, and it's such a wonderful, humorous show, I was very delighted. And recently, as you know, I've been doing a one-man show about Truman Capote, which again is a character that I've really enjoyed. And this was a very tragic American writer who also had this wonderful sharp sense of humor. And we've been touring it now for 2 years, and the success of it has been is that he would tell these terrible anecdotes about all his friends, and about his love life, and about all the movie stars that he knew. And but it was a very sad life he had. He wasn't wanted by his family, and you find a lot of people that have unhappy childhoods very often develop into geniuses of certain kind. A lot of children that have been in orphanages or foster home have that extra fight to become successful, like Capote did.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, maybe. Do we have time for? Is everything okay with Flub? I thought I heard something.
I think he's losing air or something. This happens to him.
Okay.
Are you okay? Yeah.
Okay.
I think he just needs to rest.
Don't show that. Don't show that.
He just needs to rest. He'll be okay.
Get him on.
You okay? Are you okay?
Okay. Let's go back. So now, what can we look forward to from everybody? Stryker, what's coming up?
Well, I understand on Beyond Vaudeville you're going to have production of my shows in the near future, my story, and quite a few of my songs.
We'd like to do that. And you want to mention your show, your screenplay that you wrote?
Yes, Baby What I Couldn't Do with Plenty of Money and You. And we're going to have excerpts from that with Irene.
Okay.
And other things, too.
Okay, and Frederick, we can look for the book. And
The book will be out in a week or two, and it'll be on the newsstand, in the bookshops, probably newsstands as well. And it's published by Prentice Hall and Simon Schuster.
okay, we'll all look for that. We'll put our closing theme song from Star Trek. David, you want to say anything else to the people? You want to behave and say something nice?
I'm not going to do your effing show anymore.